And hello, everybody. We are live. How's everybody doing this evening? I hope everybody's day went great. Just going to do a nice little relaxing chat and chill stream tonight after a few build streams going on. We'll talk about some upcoming projects that we're going to work on. And we'll talk about a project that came through and visited us here in the Dragon Lair this past week. It's been something that's been under wraps for a little bit, just because I didn't want to talk about it. Hey, Pete Salvis, how are you doing, my friend? How are you doing? 1 second here.
Yo-oo.
I've been sitting here talking with the mic muted because I had coughed earlier. Thank you for telling me that, Chewy. That is awesome. Thank you, Pete, for also letting me know. So, seriously, Chewy, I'm seeing the mic now. Okay, there we go. Thanks, Pete. Chewy's going to mess with me just because he can. Um, So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a laid back stream tonight. After doing a couple of back-to-back machine builds, I think we need a little relaxing stream. But I did want to talk about a couple of things this evening, some upcoming projects, and a project I've been working on in the background over about the last week and a half to help somebody out. I do have quite a few. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm still running the delay. So this last Sunday when I streamed, apparently we were having some connectivity issues out here in the Dragon Lair, and it broke that video up into 13 different segments on Twitch. And I have to publish them. It won't let you try and edit or do anything with them until you publish them. So I tried to publish them and edit them. Hey, Westery1, how are you doing this evening, sis? And look at that, a party of 8. Awesome. Hey, the Zolan, how are you doing? Yes, the raid worked. Hey, Royal Nomi, how are you doing this evening? Wow, okay, so everybody came over. Awesome, thank you. I was going to get mad at you, sis, because I was like, wait, I was supposed to be streaming. I told her what I was going to be talking about tonight, and then she streams over the top of me? Like, oh my gosh. But I get it. I get it. You know, you were showing off the new Mustang diesel, which is really nice. That's cool. Um, oh, Zolan, are you? Is your back hurting you again? 12 dogs. Oh dear God, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. Hey, Blacksmith Pop, thanks for joining in. Hey, Ashernak, how are you doing this evening? Yep, I am on. I am on Tuesday evenings and should be Saturday mornings. However, the past couple of Saturdays and this coming Saturday, I have a prior engagement. I'm giving back to the hunting mentoring group that got me started in hunting. So I've been giving back ever since. So the last 3 years, I've been part of the mentoring crew. So I've got some of that going. Hey, Westery1, how are you doing? Yeah, she rated twice. It's all good. It's all good. Oh yeah, that's not good, Zolan. Yeah, I so I've had prior neck surgery. So I had C5, C6 replaced, C6, C7 fused, and I was losing all feeling. I reached up to grab the mouse at work one day and lost all feeling through my right arm. Scared the bejesus out of me. So yeah, I feel for you with any of those back and neck injuries. They really hurt. Um, I I think they may have gotten rid of the host option. I'm not sure though. Yeah, it was on your phone. Yeah, no problems, no worries, Westery. No worries. Um, but I was talking. We're just gonna kind of do. Hey, hybrid robotics, how you doing? The goal for tonight is just a little bit of a chat and chill stream. We've kind of been going at it for the last few streams between the Blue Dragon build and the Gold Dragon build, which are sitting on the floor right now because I need to clear out the underneath bench space or down here. Got got to reorganize my filament again and make some more room. But a couple of the things that are going on is I do have several prep projects going on. Um, Cedarcraft, I'm printing all the parts for him to do a OG Ender 3 uh, Black Dragon over here, an OG Ender 3, which has the 2040 Y rail. We've got a solution for him, so I'm printing out the parts and I'm gonna send it to him so that he can do that build as he collects all the parts and stuff. And who knows? This may wind up getting that same conversion, and it may go full boron switch wire. You never know, because I like to do things like for punishment. Ah, ads, gotcha. Um, yeah, and unfortunately, here's the thing: is I believe if I run ads in my stream, then there's no pre-roll ads. If I take the ads out of my stream, there's pre-rolls, and I'm not sure if they still run ads through my stream. I just get nothing out of it. And really, what I'm getting out of it is a few pennies. If I can figure out how to do it and kill all ads, I will. So I'm going to start trolling, trying to figure out possibly how to do that because I'm really not making anything on the ads. And I think they do it just as a way to really try and entice people to subscribe so that, because as a subscriber, you wouldn't get the ads other than maybe the actual pre roll ad prior to joining the stream. But yeah. On that. Ooh, gosh, 7 herniated discs, 3 partially healed compression fractures. Oh, man. I am sorry to hear that. I can only imagine based on having my neck surgery and then I've had surgeries on both shoulders and one knee. Torn labrum in the right that was almost torn completely in half. Left one I injured not too long ago, and that was a torn labrum, torn rotator cuff, and I tore the bicep tendon. Tore a meniscus in my right knee. That's the one that really grinds and pops now. I'm falling apart. Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And I really don't want to try and force anybody to sub. I mean, if you can, that's great. It does support the channel. It allows me to buy more stuff to provide content because I'm not sponsoring yet. Yeah. Oh, hey, Westery, thank you for the resub. That is awesome. Thank you very much. And for a gift sub, well, I guess two gift subs. Thank you so much. That is awesome, sis. Hey, sis, are you on your computer or are you still on your phone out with the horses? Haha, Chewy should be to do it. Are you on your phone, sis, or are you back inside on your computer? So anyhow, you're on your phone. Okay, all right. It may be hard for you to see, but you can definitely recheck the stream. But oh, and you have the dogs with you, so Mia's jumping around at your feet because she can hear me. Oh wow! I was like, what is that sound? I thought it was like an extruder or something, but it's actually the wind coming through the siding on the side of the house. That weird thing. So um, this evening, like I said, I've got a couple of print projects that I'm running through right now. Um, okay, gotcha. Um, so I'm printing parts for a Cedacraft to do a Inner 3 to switch wire build. And I'm also printing some projects that I need uh, for a closed beta that I'm participating in. And unfortunately, I can't talk about it at this point in time. But yeah, I am participating in a closed beta right now, which is pretty cool. Um, and then I need to at some point start printing some eggs for my mom for her church. She asked me a little while back to print some Easter eggs that are screwed together or something that they can hang on. You know, people in need at her church can write down and then put them in an egg, and then they'll take them and put them on a tree, kind of like an angel tree at Christmas time. And then people can grab the eggs and then um, get something for people that are in need within their church community. So I've got to try and print a bunch of those out. Some cool events. You just got the V01 printing again. Yeah, at some point, I'd really like to hear about the Omnia drop Zolan. So if you talk about it on your stream or anything, that would be awesome. Um, I keep thinking about maybe trying one, though I just haven't. Um, email Eastern Gnome. Oh, that's going to be cool. Yeah, I try not to run too many of my printers during the stream. Um, but I do have one on the workbench right now printing beside me, and V0, like I said, printing some parts. Um, and if the Cedacraft sees this later on, I am going to print one of those dragon cows that you sent me for the stealth burner. I'm going to do one for red dragon. I'll do the black dragon with the boron red uh, cowling. And then I will have to send you a different cowling because of the LGX light that's on Blue Dragon. It uses a different cowling, so I will have to send you that one. It has some different internal cutouts for it to make everything work. So, anyone here of the SMUF? MMU? I have I've never heard of that one, Chewy. I know of the Prusa MMU2S, which is right here. This is going to be an upcoming thing on the stream. I've got this built. I had this built prior to starting the stream, and this is designed in purple, of course, to go on purple haze. I'm going to swap these two around and make purple haze back up against the sidewall here, just off camera, and I'm going to possibly mount a rep box up on that wall because it's a straight vertical wall rather than this short pony wall angle. Yeah, definitely post the link. That would be really cool to be able to check out. Like I said, I've never seen it. Smart multi-filament feeder. Okay. Smart multi-filament feeder featuring Bondtech gears. It kind of doesn't look that bad. It kind of looks a little bit like a kind of looks a little bit like an enraged rabbit carrot feeder. I know it's not, but a little bit. It'd be interesting to see what that design's like. Gotta check the puppies. Okay. See you shortly, Zolan. And you're gonna be right back, Westery. I need you here, sis. I need you here. But let me know when you're back, because I need to drop some info on people. Yeah, it looks a lot like an IRCFA. So I'd be interested to see what that build out's like and how quickly kits become available. But this is the MMU 2S for Prusa. So I have to print the mounting legs that'll mount it to my Prusa Bear frame. But yeah, no problem, Chewy. And you've got the, let me double check. So this is the selector motor that'll move the carriage, so the selector carriage. Bottom one is the one that will actually drive the filament, and the one over here is the one that moves the, there's a rotating selector with 608 bearings. And so this is, we'll say kind of, the feed system on here isn't dual Bondtech gears. It is a Bondtech gear with a 608 bearing that it presses it up against. So this rotates a drum to move the 608 bearing over the filament. And then this one moves the front carriage or the selector carriage over. And then this motor over here will actually extrude or retract filament. And there's an electronics board up at the top that you have to flash firmware to and stuff. So this is going to be probably one of the next things that I start working on, because I'd really, really like to start doing some multicolor prints. Hey, Titan's Revenge, how are you doing, my friend? Thank you for joining the stream. And now that Sis is back, so a little while ago, and if you've been on her stream, you may have heard that I was working on a project for Westery1 after I talked her into doing a certain project for Shield. And with that, let me go ahead and switch my camera views. Wait, what is this? Live on a farm, they said. It will be fun, they said. Westery1? Look what came in today. I know, right? And you know what else came in today? Well, actually, this came in a couple days ago. Yep, I got me some Westery1 swag. Yeah, that is awesome. I am so happy. Like I said, the desk mat came in just this afternoon, so I was happy to see that one come in time for the stream as a surprise. So, and then live on a farm. They said it will be fun. They said, well, what lives on a farm? I don't know. Does a sheep live on a farm? I think sheep do live on farms. What else might you find on a farm? Might you find a tree frog on a farm? Yeah. Bah. You might you might find a tree frog. So it, if you know, you know. What are these two prints from? Goats, chickens, frogs? OMG, yeah. So if you know, you know that these are standard test print files pre-sliced that come with a Prusa Mini. That's right, Build Over Bot. I need a duck. I really should have had a duck on here for Westery1. I don't know what I was thinking. And with that, excuse me as I moved my camera. Oi, whatever, pray tell, may I be printing on this fully functional Prusa Mini? Yep, I quack you up. So I figured after doing the first couple of test prints to make sure that the new hot end that I installed on here was working appropriately, I just thought, I'd have to do a Westery1 duck. Westery1 duck is yellow, so I broke out my roll of Polymaker yellow PLA and sliced this up and got it started. Did I save the Revo? Did I save the Revo? Um, no, Chewy, I did not. I did not save it. So I'm gonna flip over real fast and change screens for a moment. So I got a couple pictures here. When I received this printer from Westery1, she said that she sent it in the same manner that it came to her in, which included this extruder. And I'm not going to try and open it up over into the web browser and do all that to make it bigger, just because I want to flip through these without showing off some of the background on my back channel on my Discord too much. But you will notice something looks funny around the two screws or the two nuts on the left here. And that is because those were captive nuts that ripped out of this part right here. So that you have the extruder, okay? You have on the Prusa Mini, you have the X motor on the front and that's what moves your X back and forth. And then this plate sandwiches the LM8 UU bearings, or excuse me, the LM10 LUU bearings um, on the 10 millimeter vertical rods. And those two nuts are captive on the back side of this print, and it allows the extruder and its motor to be mounted on the back side of the XZ gantry. So that had broken away and started causing some problems. All right, let me check with chat. Yes, so that had broken off. The extruder is supposed to be part of that assembly, Westery1. So when it's not connected, that means something bad has happened. So it was a quick print. I thought, I wasn't sure if I had enough Prusa Mini Pet G orange on hand. So I was sitting there and I had one sitting in my basket with printed solid. And I went ahead and whipped off a replacement part for that piece on my Prusa Mini, no less. And it printed just fine. In fact, I might have even been able to do another one just for good measure. Yes, so Built Over Bot, she didn't really announce it because she alluded that she had purchased a printer, but that it did not come in operational. It was supposed to be ready to go. Put 3 bolts in. The 3 bolts, I believe, were shipped loose in the box with some blue tape around them. And needless to say, that when they got to Westery1, they were bent. So I went ahead and, I mean, it was an M320, an M312, and an M38. You know, if you see my drawer of screws, I had plenty of those, so that was no big deal. But we got those sorted out. Then we come to, you know, a few little scratches here or there. This was probably those bolts banging around in the box. And if you look at that build plate, I'm not sure what the previous owner used on this build plate as I'm going to assume an interface layer, but they had it on both sides of the build plate, so it got a good and proper scrubbing with some Dawn dish soap and not a Brillo pad, but you know, like a kitchen sponge, fresh kitchen sponge, and yeah, there was crud all over that build. Got cleaned. So we got it cleaned off. I also wiped down the printer fully top to bottom. Um, yeah, we'll just say it was not in a loved environment. Some more, I'll say, box rash going on. And your hot end. Now, when you have a Revo hot end, and one, it's missing its little identifier sock, and then two, it looks this gunked up. That's worrisome. And once again, when your extruder is sitting on the side there, that's probably worrisome as well, right? And I think that's all the pictures I had. So there was one more, but I don't have it published online at the moment. Let me get caught up on chat real fast. Oh, they were still in the machine and bent and stuck. Oh, wow. So he actually had taken them out and put them back in the and the T-nuts. Wow, so that's crazy. Okay. Yeah, super glue fixes everything. Maybe some glue, that'd be all right. Um, oh yeah, yeah. I do not know what they were using on that PEI sheet. I will tell you that there are there are a couple of divots where it looks like he had a hot end that was warm, and we'll just say negative Z China, and drove it onto the plate. It's not bad. It's the plate's workable. It's not bad um, at all. Um, but we'll just say it was not in a loved environment. Um, so there is a couple of quality of life mods that I've added to this printer. Um, one, a little bit hard to see. I will move the camera around a bit to the side here. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. You'll notice this little black piece right here. So for whatever reason, they ship the screens without a backer. So when everybody's moving this knob, we do things with our thumbs. It's like a little phone size. So you reach around there with the back. Now you've got your hand back there, and you're working the knob, and you go to push, and you're touching the back of the display. So as a safety precaution, I just printed off this little back plate. It just clips on, and then you plug in the cable. So yeah, no big deal. Oh yeah, it has a knob. Well, it had a knob before. It was just the inner compression ring was busted on it, so it wouldn't stay on. It really wouldn't be useful. Um, yeah. The other thing that you might see, I'll move this forward a little bit, is this printed part right here. This is just a Z brace, and so it attaches to the right rail base with 2 and 5 screws, and to the upright with 2 and 5 screws. And I think I used M5 by 10s, and it just adds a little bit more rigidity to the printer. You don't necessarily need it, but I figure why not? Anything that'll make it that much more rigid, especially with what we would call a cantilevered gantry, the better. Because technically, as the print head moves this way, it can uh, it can droop this side, just like an Ender 3 with a lead screw only on one side. But that would be why they have the 10 millimeter rods, and the rod's so close. I mean, I could physically push it down if I wanted to, but. And then the other thing is, because you have such a cute and portable printer, well, you kind of need a way to grabbing it and moving it around. So now you got a handle on the side, and trust me, it comes in handy when you're moving it and putting it in the truck, and then taking it from the truck and going to like Murph or Rocky Mountain Rip Rat Fest. Just makes it easy to move the printer around rather than having to grab it here and grab it by the frame. It's just easy. Yeah, the Ender 2, the Ender 2 Pro, or pick a clone. Any V-wheel bed slingers, majority of them just have a single lead screw on one side. But with this being dual 10 millimeter linear rods and 8 millimeter lead screw right here, I mean, this is going straight up and straight down. You make it a very, very slight sag on one side, but it's not going to be big. Oh, it can very well be a car printer, Chewy. And the funny thing was just trying to figure out, because of the filament sensor that comes out the side here, how to get this and the rook onto the table at the same time. But I did have them both here the other day as I was printing. Um, which, by the way, if anybody wants to see, I have done 0 pressure advance. I haven't run input shaping on the Rook yet, but I was running my ABS fast profile for my V01. All I did was I took my V01 profile, brought it over, changed the bed width, the depth, and the height accordingly. Oh, hey, Royal Novi, you got the lawn done? Awesome. And then this was printed in PLA at 120 millimeters per second. And I currently still have it at 3,000 millimeters squared acceleration. I haven't cranked that up until I do input shaping. And this is in Galaxy Polymaker Galaxy Black at 0.2 layer heights. This is 150% size. Oh, hey, Ian Douglas, how are you doing? But this was printed on the Rook Mark I, which is a mostly printed printer that we built on stream over the last 3 streams. Like I said, I've done 0 tuning to that printer yet. In fact, it's just running standard PID values that I copied over from the V01. Hey, Ian Douglas. So yeah, I am going to call this printer rescued, saved. It is printing great. Also, Westery1, I did put the latest version of firmware on here, which I think is 441. And you may see a little symbol up here next to the USB, and it's a networking symbol. Looks like a little LAN symbol. Because this printer does have an Ethernet jack in it. You can put an Ethernet jack in it and work it through the network. You can also put a wireless module on here, and I've done that to mine. But yeah, you can basically put this little wireless module on there, which would be something that we would probably need to do together, and I'd walk you through it because you'd have to set the wireless up and stuff like that at your house. So I'd want to have you here to walk you through doing that. But a couple of things on the Revo Micro hot end that came in this. One, as you can see, no sock on that nozzle. This. So there's no sock on that nozzle, and it's pretty nasty. So it still heats up perfectly fine because I heated it up. I got a little bit of something to ooze out of it, which is interesting because if I pull this nozzle out, which it's a Revo, it just unscrews, right? And you pull that nozzle out. A lot of threads, 3 threads. And the nozzle comes, right? So bottom portion here is your nozzle. That segment right there is your heat break, and then from that ring up is the throat. Right? So this is an all metal hot end. Okay. Now I'm going to remove the heater core and the spring, the retention spring, and there's filament sticking out of the bottom of this. That filament was nowhere near the hot zone, right? This part's the hot zone. This filament is nowhere near the hot zone, which means whatever oozed out of this when I heated it up, oozed out of the nozzle itself. There is nothing getting through this nozzle. I have no idea what this individual ran through it, but nothing is coming in or out of this nozzle. I ran a needle up through this nozzle, and somewhere in this section between my fingers, there is a clog, and it is clogged solid. That is the only thing I could do is heat it with a heat gun or something like that, and which I may do off stream and try and clean it out. But this thing is, I don't know how this person got this thing jammed. Not only that, but you'll notice it, that's still in this heat break, which is a cold zone. And you're thinking, well, Luke, why didn't you take that out? Trust me, I tried. I tried. Let's flip it around the other way. That's the top edge, right? I remember this clip, and I did everything in my power to push this coupler down, and my wife was holding on to the PTFE tube, and we tore the PTFE tube. So whatever they heated up in the nozzle, they pulled it out and it solidified. And I have a feeling there was a gap between the nozzle and the PTFE tube. And so there's probably a clog up in this upper reach, probably where these rings change diameter. There's most likely a clog up there. So this is a brand new full Revo hot end. It's kind of hard to tell, but this wire that has the stripes on it, this is a fiberglass insulation on it, and also has the I guess the serial code or the serial number for this heater core and a little QR code. Right, so this is the heater element. Once again, it still works. These are the thermistor wires. Once again, these still work. Okay. There was an issue with some of these original heater cores. Used the white wire for the thermistor, where for whatever reason they stopped sensing the right temperature. Right? And it's random. It's somewhere in a batch. So like I said, this heater core still works perfectly fine. But the new one that I put on here has the blue wire for the thermistor, and those are the new ones that have been resolved. So shouldn't be any issues with this. So yeah, it'll be working fine. This heat sink is trashed. So yeah, and don't worry about it, sis, because I do have a replacement heat sink already. Like I said, this heater core still works fine. It still heats up, still maintains temperature fine. The retention spring works just fine, so that's no big deal. And what I'm going to do is all I need to do is basically just reassemble it. And I've got plenty of extra standard, I'll say brass Revo nozzles, so I'm good. And the Mini is saved. Mini has been saved. And if I can get this one cleaned out, I will, but I'm not too worried about it. Like I said, I've got plenty of extras. I'm going to keep them. This is just, I'm not even going to try and get that because the only way I'm going to get that tube out is going to be to damage this. Whoops, that heats. So yeah, then we'll talk about one of the other things. So I got a Revo CR that I used in Gold Dragon down here on the corner. Right, I used the Revo CR. So pretty much I've got micro Swiss all metal hot end on my inner three. I've got a E3D V6 all metal hot end on Prusa Stealth, which is my Prusa Mark III. I think both of my Prusa Bears are running Revos. My D-Bot's running a Revo. Red Dragon's running a Revo. My Prusa Mini's running a Revo Micro. My B0's running a Betis Dragonfly all metal hot end. And the 0G, my Inner 5 Plus, that went to a 0G Mercury's running a Dragon High Flow hot end. Built over bot, we've got a solution for shipping. Or at least we're working on a concept. I believe Westery may be making a road trip west soon. She may need to come south my direction before she goes west. And even if she can't make it all the way, I may meet her somewhere so that we can hand off this and she can take it with her as she goes west. And who knows, she might even get a roll of filament to go with it. Make sure she has something to print to keep her addiction going when she's doing things out west. But if this does get shipped, it will go in a dish pack box, a heavy duty dish pack moving box, and it will have plenty of appropriate padding around it to prevent it from getting scuffs in shipping. Yet, got to keep the addiction fed. So, one of the other things that I purchased that just came in the other day, this is I think they call it a CHC CR10 upgrade, and it'll go on, any Creality based printer other than the ones that I think use the sprites. Was it the 6 that uses the weird new hot end? But it's got a nice blue anodized aluminum heat block. You'll notice there's 2 holes right down here. Those are for set screws that will hold the throat in. So this is a weird kind of conglomerated mixture. It's their attempt to do a Revo while skirting around the patents and stuff of Revo. So what you've got is typical throat, and the upper portion throat, the smooth throat piece, will slide in, and you'll hold it in place with 2 set screws. And you'll notice there is, well, here, let me just open this up. I will probably assemble this more because why not? So you'll notice on here right up, there's that little ring right there at the top, and then there will be a little bit of a gap. So it goes all the way up to that ring in the heat break. It'll go just up there like that. Then you'll do the 2 set screws. And then you have your ceramic heater core, which will have your thermistor wires and your heater wires, just like you do on a Revo. And so the top part here is where this will go in. So this goes in, thread on there. Now I'm not going to put it all the way in just yet because really what you want to do on these, this would be very typical installation like a E3D V6 hot end, where you take your brass nozzle or a hardened steel nozzle, right, M6 threading. So with M6 threading, that means you can use any nozzle that'll fit an E3D V6. So what you really normally want to do is run these all the way up so that they go flush with the heater block, or in this case the heater core, and then you'll back it off the turn. Now you'll take your throat and go all the way down with it so that when you heat tighten this, you will have a little bit of a gap between the nozzle and the heat break. You want that gap down here versus at the top because that's what will allow you to hot tighten this up and prevent you from getting leaks out of this nozzle. Now you don't get the one-handed quote unquote nozzle change like you do with the Revo, and you can't do it cold. You're still going to have to hot tighten it if you swap nozzles on this, but you get the goodness of that ceramic heater, which heats up really, really fast. And you'll notice that the ceramic heater has flats on the side. It has flats on the side so that you can hold it steady with a wrench while you hot tighten that nozzle. So now I want to make a 3D printer, anonymous 3D printer chip without prints. Not sure if I understand that. It may need you to flesh that out just a little bit more so I understand where you're coming from. So yeah, I purchased this. This was the original plan for the Rook. And the nice thing with this as well is this is a standard quote unquote hot end that would use the short version of the Rookery cooling ducts. But you can change this heater out and the nozzle and basically go to a volcano style nozzle with a larger heater block or heater core. And now you have the high flow version of it. And all you have to do is buy the different heater core and nozzles, and you'll have the ability to go high flow with larger nozzles. So I guess this is one of the newer things that all the cool kids are now printing with. Yeah, I pretty much, I knew I was going to have all the parts to fix it, and if not, I could get the parts and get it back going for her because we all know that Westery doesn't like to tinker. She has tinkered on her Focus. I think she's had to do a little bit of tinkering um, with her Kaiwus. And I'm sure that um, Subsector loves that because I think Subsector gets the call for help on those. Hard for me to really help on those because I don't own either one of them. Yeah, I know you hate tinkering. I know you hate tinkering, sis. It's all good. Um, yeah, so what's everybody else been up to and working on these days? I mean, like I said, I've just been working on I'm doing printer builds and printer repairs. And once I got this in and triaged it, it really wasn't that hard to work on it and get it fixed. We just need to figure out, okay, what needs to be reprinted? Am I going to have to fast track some filament for that and a couple of parts? And luckily this is on So I was able to get this off of Amazon and got it here in 2 days on the Revo Micro. If not, I would have went to KBD, either KB3D, Fabrico, or Westery, whoever had it in stock. I didn't even go to Printed Solid because, I tried to get anything on the west or on the East Coast first because that's where I'm at, and I'd probably be able to get quicker shipping, even just going regular shipping. Like I ordered a bunch of stuff through KB3D, and that stuff's going to be arriving tomorrow or Thursday. Yeah. Oh, you're making content videos for a laser engraver. Awesome. Which laser engraver, Ian? Can you tell us? You're going to show her a Raspberry Pi Clipper setup? Well, if she happens to come all the way down here and visit the Dragon Lair, I can show her plenty of Raspberry Pi Clipper setups. In fact, I may actually have, um, yeah, I may actually have some gold on my hands right now. And by gold, I mean, 1 second here. Spare Raspberry Pi 3B. Raspberry Pi 4. I've got a couple more printer builds available right here. I know Mrs. Dragon's sitting there listening, like probably thinking the heck you do, but there's a capability for a couple more printers. A little 5-watt diode laser. That's cool. So we've got an X Tools D1 laser setup with the 20-watt diode laser. And Mrs. Dragon's been working on that one. I pretty much was like, here, I bought this for you. This is your baby. I kind of got her a little started, but then she's been rolling with it. And she's actually engraved some signs that we'll be working to finish out. And I don't know, we may stain them, and then I'm going to put some magnetic tape on the back, and we'll be able to put them right underneath all of the printers back here, so they should be big enough you guys can read them. Just like these ones here, which was our initial test ones. Now, whoop, if I put it here, I don't think you all will be able to read that on screen. But we will try and make them a little bit bigger and be able to have these here. That way, as I move printers around, pop them off and move them wherever the printer goes. They'll have, like, the name, and if they're serialized, I'll have a serial number on them. If they're not, then I'll just have the printer name and what kind of printer it is. So that's a cool little thing. And I also thought too, I wasn't sure about the size and stuff, but I've got some metal business cards. And I was like, ooh, I can either cut those on either the Shapeoko or my little 3018 CNC. I could engrave those or laser etch them. So I got a bunch of those that we can play with as well. So I do have the we've got the enclosure for it, and we've got the exhaust. The enclosure comes with an exhaust fan, and we run it downstairs in the garage, and she will crack the door on the garage and put the hose outside so it exhausts outside the garage. But we do have the enclosure with the colored window, and she wears her glasses whenever she's around it. So she's got both the glasses and the colored window to do the protection. And then we also have the air assist for it that we will. I still haven't installed it. That's why we're getting a little bit of charring there. Was that Digital Dragon needs to sign the Mini as its rebuilder and name it? Okay. Miss Dragon is overwhelmed with all the toys in this house. Yes, she is. But Miss Dragon has gone, and like I said, she's been the one primarily doing all the lasering stuff, and she's been working on that and learning that. She also has a cry cut, so we can do vinyls and stickers and stuff. And she's been working on doing designs for the Shapeoko as well that we can go and cut out. So she's learning. She really doesn't want to do the 3D printers, but she's learned the laser and she's learning the Shapeoko and stuff like that. So that's been pretty good. Yeah, we do the print. You know, that was the biggest thing when I bought the laser was I wanted to have the proper venting and the enclosure for it because I know that I mean I bought it and yes I will use it, but I wanted it to primarily be something for my wife, so it was going to have the safety stuff. So yeah, if she starts printing and taking over the Dragon Lair, that'll be a riot. Yep, exactly, and that's the thing, especially with the lasers. We always run it with the enclosure in place. We got the exhaust fan going. Right now, we've only been doing um, wood. I went out and got a big project box. I think it's like 12 by 12 quarter-inch sheets. And I've got some 12 by 12 3/4 inch sheets that we use for the Shapeoko for some smaller projects. Um, but yeah, and then I did pick up some more ABS. So these are 1/8 inch ABS panels. Basically, it's 3mm ABS sheets. It's um, smooth on one side, textured on the other. And this is what I use to make deck panels for the Underwire builds, right? So you get them, these are, I think, 2 foot by 2 foot sheets. You get these and you print them out. And I'm trying to think, this is, what did I cut this panel? I think I was trying to cut the rear panels. So yeah, I think this is one of the sides. And this is the rear panel for the whatchamacallit, the Underwire belt. So this would be one of the sides, and these 3 holes would actually mount to the side of the extrusion. So it'd be something like that. Then this becomes, I think this is actually the top piece. So this would go on the top, and it would have the mounting holes for it to go into the top. And then, of course, there'll be corner clamps and stuff like that. But I needed some more sheet material, so I just bought some more sheet material. And I'm cutting that, and I think I'll cut acrylic or plexiglass for some panels. Hey, Jerry 3DHP, how are you doing today? I want to start cutting my panels just because once I finally cut them, it was great. But you can laser cut acrylic, preferably cast acrylic, and you can CNC machine cast acrylic. Under no circumstances should you laser cut ABS. It gives off toxic fumes that will kill people, things. So do not. If you're going to do anything with ABS, you know, cut it with a CNC or standard like saws and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Well, and not only that, Chewy, but I think it was Tom Slatterer that was at some show, and somebody, and I'm not sure if it was Creality, but I think it was a Creality or one of those companies had a laser at the show, and it was open air, and they were laser cutting stuff on a folding table in the middle of a trade show. Like if I was if like I saw that at Rocky Mountain Rep Rap or Murph or Earth or Smurf or whatever, like immediately that's go talk to the organizers and they're leaving. Like if I had any say in it, they would not be there anymore. Like that's yeah, that is just crazy because not only can that hurt the operator, that can hurt anybody there. Um, so yeah, I mean that would just be crazy. But I am looking for another set of glasses because we only got one set of glasses that came with um, the X tools. I probably can go through them and get another pair. But yeah, and it may not have been Creality, but it was along that lines. It was one of those uh, really inexpensive lasers that's coming out of the Far East right now. That was running it. I'd have to find the video. Yeah, don't run a laser without a proper enclosure, preferably, and without um, proper eye protection. Oh yeah, Chewy. Yeah, that's just not good. Um, but yeah, so we're having fun. We got plenty of different machines that we like to use here, and eventually we're gonna start. Right now it's just making cool stuff for families and friends and ourselves, but eventually, who knows? We might be making some stuff and selling it in conjunction with other things because um, Evil Diesel and I have been well. Evil Diesel's been doing a lot of the legwork, but we've talked about possibly taking over the small little maker space they have in a local library here, as well as getting a table and possibly selling some things at a couple of the local cons and stuff. He showed off a new gaming table. Basically, I gave him an old, like, I think it's a 30 something inch TV, and he took it out of the case and he created brackets and he's mounted it in a random or in a standard like dining room tabletop, and the bracket has spaces that you can slide a sheet of plexiglass over so that you can keep the electronics from getting damaged by any spills or whatnot. But it's made to be a digital gaming board for um, whether it's Warcraft or D&D or anything like that. And so he started printing miniatures as well. So I guess over the weekend, he went down to the local gaming store and they were doing uh, miniature painting tutorials. Printed some Warhammer 40,000 miniatures as part of that and wound up buying another set. And I'm pretty sure he will probably start designing his own set soon. But he's also sold some custom miniature sets for some D&D stuff. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So that's some of the stuff that we're thinking about trying to do here in the not too distant future. I'll help them scale out with my new resin print. If we ever need anything larger, I've got plenty of machines to scale out. But yeah, folks, I don't have much more to go. Like I said, I have some projects to start working on. Like I said, I'm going to really start focusing on trying to get the MMU together. Maybe I'll do some research, and on Sunday's stream, we'll have uh, Purple Haze on the workbench, and we'll start working on getting the MMU physically mounted and get the firmware updated and start working on the updates we need to do to try and start pushing multiple colors through Purple Haze. We got our Westery1 duck going, and I will definitely post pictures when that finishes on Twitter. So what's everybody else working on this evening? You got any projects going, Chewy? Oh, speaking of projects, Chewy, I saw that you DM'd me on Discord. I haven't looked at that file yet. I will, and I will get back to you. Are you referring to the Rook Mark 1 just being 3 days of streams, Chewy? I mean, technically it should have been just 2 streams, but one, I didn't have all the parts on hand. I was waiting for some shipping for the bed and the hot end. And then that third stream was way longer than it should have been because I was beating my head against the thing. Oh, this rebuild? Honestly, this rebuild, it wasn't that hard. It was a lot of just basic cleaning. I had to reprint the one part and then, you know, finish disassembling and reassembling this. But I have not touched anything to the extruder. My fear was that I would try and extrude and I would have some issue with the extruder and I'd have to tear that apart, and I didn't have to, so that was good. The filament sensors working right. I had to come up with a couple of screws, and really it was just some deep cleaning. And oh, the other thing that was messed up, and let me see if I've got it over here on the pitch. Nope. All right, put it in the box. So the well, here, let me grab the. So the other thing that happened was after I replaced the Revo, which so what I did was I didn't replace the extension wires that go back into the electronics box. I just worked on the see if I can a little bit more. So okay, thank you, Chewy. Thank you, Westery. So after I got that part reprinted, it was a simple case of making sure it was sitting down nicely so I could take the rest of the screws out without the whole thing falling off and getting damaged. Got the back plate back on, made sure everything was still lined up good. There's connectors, of course, on the Revo hot end, and that go to the extension cable. So I just disconnected them up here, replaced the nozzle, put this back on, and made sure that everything was working. Okay, great. The fan was making some noise. And I was like, why is that fan making noise? This is a reality fan. Don't worry about it. But so the 4040 4010 fan here on the side that's cooling the hot end, the frame had a chunk taken out of it. So there's actually physical material missing in the frame. And so on this, if I had 4 screws in it, no problem. It would still work. But on the Prusa Mini, you only use 2 screws, which means this end, due to vibration, was allowed to flop around. So it was making a vibrating noise. It would only be a matter of time before it flopped in and the fan caught it, and now you're going to break something even worse, right? So I replaced that fan. I have several spare fans. These fans are not 24 volt, they're actually 5-volt fans. But I do have several spare fans for my Prusas, since I've got 3 Prusas, Mark 3Ss. The only difference is the cable length is about inch and a half less for the Mark 3S cable length than it is for the Prusa Mini. For whatever reason, don't ask me. But it still works. Still made it work. The 5015 fan, when it first spins up, makes a little bit of noise, but it calms down very quickly. I don't know if it just goes into a like full tilt boogie initially, and then it calms down. So that one's doing good. So I did have to get into the electrical box and get things routed. So then sleeving all came off and went back on. The hot end itself was replaced. This is your translucent orange cap tube Westery. I figured I would replace that. I didn't replace the other ones because I didn't really want to touch it if I didn't need to. Yeah, and then added a few other parts just for quality of life and convenience stuff. Updated the firmware, make sure that it passed all the calibration. So I did rerun all the calibration. And then the other thing I needed to do, and I think this is why we did the Z negative China that left a divot in the plate. When you swap out the standard nozzle hot end for the Revo Micro, anytime you replace a nozzle or a entire hot end and you're using a probe, you have to readjust the offset on your probe, right? Your X and Y offset may not have changed, but your Z offset has probably changed. And the way you do that is manually with the machine off, lower, by moving the rod, lower it until the nozzle is just touching the build plate, right? And yeah, you heard that, right, Chewy? Or right, Westery? You lower it until the nozzle is, this is on the pinda probe, until the nozzle is just touching the build plate. And then you loosen them out for your pinda probe, and you take a standard tie wrap. I think Prusa ships them with the 7-inch tie wraps. You take a standard tie wrap and you lay it on the bed. In fact, let me. Standard tie wrap, okay? And you're going to lay it with this piece notch facing up so it's flat, and you lay it just like that. And you bring your pinda probe down to where it's sitting right on top of it, resting on it, right? Don't do it where that little don't do it down at this end. Do it closer to this end because this will lift up a bit. So get it close. Bring that right up underneath it. Get the nozzle just touching the bed. Bring your pin to probe down to where it's resting right on that. That is your initial offset for your pin to probe. The zip tie is your offset. That is exactly how Prusa tells you to do it. That's your initial offset. Okay? And from that, then you go through and you run your standard calibration to verify that your printer, skew, and all that, and everything's working right. Then you'll do the first layer calibration test, where it'll go through and do the pretty pattern. And that's where you make your initial adjustment to get the right squish. And don't be afraid to run that multiple times. You know, it goes through and does the zigzag line. That's one piece. But then you're really looking for that little, we'll say that square rectangular flag that it makes. Because if the bottom is glass smooth and you feel zero ridges in the bottom, you're too squished. You want it to look like glass, but if you run your fingernail over it, you can still feel the layer line, right? And all this is in the standard Prusa manual, and you can download that manual from Prusa3D.com, Westery. You'll be able to go out there, and that's where you'll go to download whenever any new firmware is released. You can get the firmware through there. You can always get the new Prusa slicers from there, and the manuals will be there. And you'll want to get the manual so that you'll know how to troubleshoot and do anything else in the printer, or just either ship it to me or give me a place to stay for the night. Come up on a weekend. With Mrs. Dragon's permission, that is. She may want to come up and see the horse. I don't know. She can chime in. Listening. But yeah, so that's how you set the distance on a Pender probe. And I've done that on all of my Mark IIIs. I've done that on the D-Bot because the D-Bot, I have it running a full Prusa Mark III hot end, right? The whole extruder hot end setup. And my Ender 3 actually has been running a Penda probe for a couple of years now. So it's the same thing. Lowered it down right in the center of the bed where the nozzle just touches the bed. If you're afraid of damaging the plate, take your PEI build plate off and do it directly to the actual build plate. No big deal, because you're moving it by hand. Your printer's not powered on. Moving it by hand to drop it right down to the build plate just so it touches, and then you use a single zip tie to set your initial offset. That's the thickness here of your initial offset, right? And then you just dial it in from there. And once you do your first layer calibration, which this is already done, shouldn't have to redo it. You do your first layer calibration. From that point on, when you start to do your first print, then you can go in and say, we're over here on the tune menu. So it's the highlighted menu, right? So all the way on the left is the tune menu. Click on that. The very first one down is Live Adjust Z. You'll click on that. Left brings the nozzle closer, right moves the nozzle away. Very small increments, and you can really dial that in on that first layer of your print. It's that simple. And I would say, if you may want to redo your first layer calibration. Okay, let me rephrase this. If you use a different sheet, so this has the PEI sheet. If you go out and get the satin sheet, or if you get a textured build plate, redo your layer calibration. If you are doing okay, me personally, we've got Polymaker here. I keep rolling with other polymaker PLAs, I don't worry about it. I just keep it the same place and keep going. If you switch over to a different material, like PETG, I would redo the layer calibration, first layer decal, because it's different bed temperatures and different nozzle temperatures. So the temperatures may be a little bit different, which may cause, things move under temperature, right? Because we're talking about going from a bed of 65 to 60 C to 80 to 85 for most PETGs, it's going to be an issue. Also, on your PEI sheet, if you're going to print PETG, put down a little bit of glue stick, because your PETG can't stick too well to this and you will take a chunk out of your PEI sheet. Yeah, it definitely never hurts to do your first layer Z calibration again, like literally going through the menu and doing it. But like I said, if I'm going to be running just Polymake or PLA through this thing, I don't blink an eye. I just throw the new roll on there and go. If I'm switching material types, whether that's running PETG or ASA or anything else through this, I will redo that first layer's decalibration. Yes. And whenever you buy a new Prusa printer, it will come with a glue stick. Whatever this weird brand is, it'll come with some glue stick. Yeah, and you'll have to check. I haven't run any Xyltech through my Prusa Mini, but I'll just say my other Prusas, like Purple Haze, like I just popped off Polymaker, threw the Xyltech on and printed. Your mileage may vary, but I'm just saying, every once in a while, I do have issues with a different PLA. I don't know if it's just flowing differently or better or worse, what have you. You just may need to do some live Z adjust at least between different brands. But I haven't had any issues being in the same brand going from like different colors, or this one's sparkle and this one's not, or what have you. Now remember, if you want to do glow in the dark, it will eat that nozzle up. Glow in the dark filaments are abrasive filaments. Some wood filaments are abrasive filaments. I don't believe Polymaker's wood filament is, but some are. You really, really need to check all the data sheets on any filaments to figure out if they're abrasive or not, especially sparkle or glow in the dark, because they will chew up a brass nozzle. In which case, it's like, here's another brass nozzle that came to me in a Revo that gotten a little bit of a cooking done. I got to clean that up some. Like I said, I've got a full pack of 2.5, 4, 6, and 0.8 millimeter. And then for giggles, when I came across these, I picked these up. This is a 0.6 obsidian nozzle. So this is the E3D hardened nozzles. There are very few of these out there. They brought some to Earth this year, and the local 3D printing store happened to buy some when they were up there. So I'm not sure if they even have any more, but I'm still waiting on 2.4s and two more 0.6s to show up. Yeah. When they found, or when I saw it, they had them sitting there, I was like, yeah, they're mine. I'm buying them. So, um, so yeah, these will be your hardened nozzles that you use with the Revo. Um, they're like I said, they're not out in the wild just yet. A lot of, I'll say, YouTubers and other influencers that are a lot bigger than me got their hands on some for testing, but then they had an issue with some supply chain batch issues. But it sounds like those are done all now, and they should be shipping the Obsidians that were on pre-order soon. Ah, no worries. Um, I think there's one or two glow in the dark that's not abrasive. It depends on what they've used, and how much of it they use, whether or not it's really abrasive or not. But they will wear down your nozzles. Um, Definitely, whenever I've printed um, glow in the dark, it goes over on Black Dragon, which is my Ender 3, which has a hardened steel nozzle on it. Not only that, if you're printing abrasives, you might want to use a 0.6 as well so you don't get any clogs. Cause if you've got an abrasive material, trying to push it through a 0.4, you may get a clog. So you'd want to try and go to a 0.6 nozzle. Well, so it depends on what you want build over bot. The Revo nozzles and the heater are rated up to 300C. If you're going over 300C, you're really into some industrial materials. Um, and I do know that Nero 3D, he doesn't do Twitch, he does YouTube, um, got his hands on some Ultim. If you've not heard of Ultim, uh, Ultim is your texture coated PEI sheets. So this is coated in Ultim. That's exactly what this is. Ultim is, this is why it's called Ultim Stick. This is Ultim with some, this has got some bed mold on it. So when you print Ultim, you're printing well over 300C. I can't remember what the temperature is. Okay, going 500C, yeah. Then you definitely want to go with an all metal hot end. And by all metal, I mean everything, all metal, gantry, mounts, everything. Because what happened to um, Nero is he put his, I want to say he put it on Toasty Boy, which is his, I think it's a Trident, though it might be a 2.4. It's one of those two. And as he was printing Ultim, we watched it start dragging, and it melted the mount. So all Vorons use ABS or ASA for their hot end mounts, right? It melted the ABS, and it fell off the carriage and started getting drug around by its wires before it could get it shut off. Yeah, that was an Alta stick plate that I showed you, Westery. And then I've also got for the Ender and Redbot, which have stuff sitting on the build plates right now. I've got the Black Edition Ultra Stick textured sheets for those, just because they're cool. Why not? Yeah. Yeah, like I said, whatever you're building, Build-Over-Bot, just make sure your entire gantry system and all your hot end mounts and everything is metal. Print them, then cast them. Okay. That would be interesting. I mean, it'd definitely be a lot easier than like CNC milling them. And you definitely don't want to use carbon fiber because carbon fiber will, who was it? 24/7 XYZ that just did the YouTube video comparing the ultralight beam, the carbon fiber beam, and the like to the regular 1515 extrusion on the D0. And what he found was the carbon fiber, as it ran in a heated chamber, started really sagging and it didn't come back. So you don't want to use carbon fiber in there either if you're 500C, because I'm assuming you'll need a heated chamber for that material as well. Yeah, Chewy, I mean, you can cast it and then you can do some finish machining or hand cleanup to get them there. It depends. I mean, there's multiple ways to skin the cat. I mean, honestly, if you had like a Shapeoko Nomad, or not the Shapeoko, but Carbide 3D Nomad, that would be interesting. Um, but yeah, true. Make it more decorative and then just mill the parts that need to be milled. Ah, okay. Yeah, so Chewy, I've got to take a look at the at that file you sent me because I think it was just the bomb, right? And I'll take a look at that and get your response back here today, or later tonight or tomorrow. But yeah, our duck's coming out well, and let me see if I can't bring you guys in for a little bit of a close up down here. Bring you over here. If you can't see that it is a Westery1 duck. We got a Westery1 duck for Westery1's Prusa Mini that apparently I get to name and sign. Probably what I'll do is I'll have to get a whatchamacallit, like paint marker. Miss Dragon, if you're listening, add a paint marker to the list when you go to the hobby store or the regular store next. Like one of the silver and gold paint markers. And I don't think it'll work on these frame parts because these are the front and back plates are injection molded. But I can sign the case, like the electronics case. I can sign the electronics case for you. Oh, that's right. You got the articulating duck. Yeah, this is the duck that she made that was posted up on printables, so I downloaded it. Like Westery1 duck made on the Westery1 Prusa Mini. Soon go to her. I have to figure out a name. What should we name it? You may have a line on some cheap industrial plastic. Okay. Got a factory that shut down or something? Aye. Well, look on the bright side, Chewy. At least you're not getting auto modded tonight. It won't let you give gift subs, but it's not auto modding you all heck and back. Now she's got to make room on the Kaiwu to print anything because she's been printing parts for a bow and a shield. Ah, new is this a new is this like a new company that's starting up? This running high tech materials or? Issue. All right, guys. Well, I'm not going to stay on here all night. Like I said, I don't have an ongoing project at this point. What we'll do Sunday is we will start working on mounting the MMU 2S on Purple Rain over here. So she'll move over to the bench and we'll start getting that mounted. And I'll start looking into the things that I need to do because I know I need to change it's like the very top of the extruder has to be changed. There's a couple of different parts. Basically, you're relocating the filament sensor from laying flat face down in the on the top of the extruder to being basically a side mount, and then you change the tension arm lever so that it has a lever that'll break the sensor then. So I've got all those parts printed. I just need to print the mounts to actually hang the MMU, which are already sliced and ready to go. I'll have those done by Sunday. And we'll get that MMU mounted and then start beating our head against software again, and trying to tune that and see if we can. Lowerbot says we have a lot of plastic facilities around this part of the country. My cousin's running one that is making spools of some of the stuff for injection molding. But it is 1.7 millimeter. Oh, really? They said you could have a couple of. Wow, that's awesome. Oh yes, Chewy. My wife is a saint for putting up with me and all these hobbies and stuff. She, she's still on me about getting the two printers downstairs moved up. I keep telling her I have to have the electrician come in and do some work up here before I can think of what's up here. Um, but that's I actually need to make that phone call and get him out here to do the quote and start that going. But okay, this Westery1 duck will continue printing overnight. Yeah, for a couple more hours, I think. We're about 62% now. I think it says about 2.5 hours remaining. So once this is done, I will take a picture on the build plate. I'll take it off, pop the supports off, and then get another picture on here on Westery's mat or desk mat. And here, let me move stuff out of the way here, and I'll give you guys a nice look see. Wasn't a disaster here. Okay. Hopefully I've got enough cable. And did I freeze? This camera freeze. Uh-oh. What happened there? Did something jiggle out? I have lost the camera. Let me see if I can get that back real fast. Uh-oh. Exactly, like right at the end, all of a sudden I have a problem where my camera stops. Change scenes and see it changing and coming back. No. Not know what happened. Disconnect, reconnect, and see if it comes back live. If not, oh no. Dang it. Okay, so I have lost the camera here, folks. Don't know what happened. But we will call it a night. I will take some photos when this print's done and do it on the bench here, showing off Westery's mat. Thank you all so much for coming out here and joining me this evening. As we just did a little chat and chill session, reviewed the issues with this printer and what we did to fix it. And once again, this next Sunday, 10 a.m., we will get together again and we will start mounting up the Prusa MMU that I have pre-assembled already and get that on Purple Haze and we'll start trying to get that configured and working. So thanks a lot. Like I said, I'm not sure what happened to that camera. I'm sure it'll work right after I bounce OBS or whatever. But yeah, thanks for coming all, and we will see you all Sunday. Have a great. Oh, actually, I'm saying, hey, we're done. How about if we find somebody to raid over into? That might be something good to do. Let's see, who do we have actually up and running? I know. Yeah. Okay, guys. So I think what I'm going to do is I see somebody on playing some Call of Duty, and it's kind of cool. So this is Jazzy Wazzy. This is Daddy Wazzy's daughter, and she is a streamer as well on Twitch. And I'm thinking let's jump over and watch her play a little bit of Call of Duty. That Digital Dragon guy is on? Really? You're killing me, Chewy. Okay, so let's set up the raid for Jazzy Wazzy. It's just Jazzy Wazzy TV. Okay. I believe she is she uses a little bit of colorful language. I think most people playing Call of Duty may let something slip every once in a while, so I hope that doesn't. Yeah, let's join me and we'll go over to Jazzy Wazzy, say hi, share a night with her, and please go out and hang out with her. If it's not your cup of tea tonight, give her another try a couple other nights. I know she's been playing some other games and doing some other things, so give her a like, give her a follow, and hang out and watch her for a while. Thanks all. With that, I just started the raid. Countdown is going, and we will head on over here shortly. Your virgin ears, yeah. Be careful, Build Overbot. Thanks all. Have a good one. See you Sunday. Bye now.